Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. So in this video we are going to be reviewing another Welcome to Blumhouse production movie. This time it's going to be Nocturne. Now where do I start with this movie? So on paper the premise of this movie actually sounded pretty decent, which is, there are twin characters that have been growing up together and that the two twins have very similar interests, which has led to them competing with one another and ultimately hating one another as well. And as it's a Blumhouse production movie, there's going to have some dark and sinister things in there. So like I said, on paper, this actually sounded pretty decent. However, the final execution of this movie was just such a big letdown. It was incredibly uninspiring, incredibly unengaging, and ultimately was just incredibly disappointing as well, which I will be breaking down why I was really disappointed with Nocturne in this movie review. Now, as far as the storyline goes for Nocturne, I'll set out the basic premise. So growing up, sisters Vivian and Juliet, twin sisters, were both loving playing the piano, but over the years, Vivian was becoming a lot more popular, a lot more successful, and a lot more adored, while sister Juliet was kind of forgotten about and was kind of like becoming the unsuccessful understudy. Now one day, Juliet gets her hands on a devil's diary from a recently deceased classmate and is able to use this to finally turn the tables and change her fortune to be able to taste success. But as this is a deal with the devil, everything comes at a price and at a big consequence. Now from a cast and characters point of view, the cast of this film are actually pretty decent. It's just such a shame that the plot of this movie and the world in which they're set in is actually not that great. So let's go through the quick cast numbers one by one. So first up we have Sweeney, who plays the character of Juliet, the main character of this film that you're kind of on the journey with from start to finish, and she really transforms from kind of being a weak, tired and shy girl into a really confident badass. We then have Madison, who plays the other twin sister Vivian in this movie, who plays a bit of an effortlessly successful mean girl type character who just makes success seem really easy. We then have their parents, who have tried to raise them as both being equal, but clearly Vivian has been a lot more successful than Juliet. We then have the different music teachers of each sister, and you can kind of see how each one is really pushing and believing in either Juliet and Vivian. And then finally we have the deceased character, the other character that made the deal with the devil, that kind of went down a particular road that potentially Juliet might go down as well. Now from a visuals point of view, I have to say Nocturne is a really bad movie. The water palette and the filter that they seem to have throughout this film is just really poor. It's really uninspiring and it's just not a joy to watch. So from a visuals point of view, this movie is actually really bad. Now from a comparisons point of view, this movie is predominantly a teen-based film. Now if you're going to be doing teen content, then you've just got so much competition in terms of Gossip Girl, in terms of the OC, in terms of 90210, in terms of 13 Reasons Why, and this is just a really poor version of doing anything related to teen type content. So I have to say, from a comparisons point of view, Nocturne is also a really bad movie. Now as far as the ending of Nocturne goes, it's a little bit confusing in terms of what on earth is going on, which ending is the real ending. Now what I've deduced from watching the film a few times is that Juliet was unintentionally making a deal with the devil through the devil's diary, who was giving her temporary success in the world. However, success with the devil comes at a price, and so Juliet had to give up her life in the same way that the previously deceased classmate character gave up her life as well, by having this temporary success from the devil. And obviously the devil gives false promises, and so the dream-like scenario that Juliet was kind of dreaming about, where she is having a lot of success at the expense of her twin sister, all was not going to happen because this was all a false reality, and actually the truth was that she ended up dying for the short-term success that she had in the world. And it was also really sad as well, as even after this character has died, she is still being forgotten about. So it was just a really twisted and uninspiring and sad film. So overall, I'm sure you can see that I did not enjoy the film Nocturne. I thought whilst it had a decent premise and had a decent character base as far as all of the actors were concerned, the actual execution of this film, the visual aesthetic, the ending, all of the hidden meanings, everything about this film was just really, really bad from my point of view. And so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give Nocturne a solid 2 out of 10. I'd love to hear what you think, so please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.